My title this morning is The Ineffable You. I guess I'm not supposed to do it. There it is, it's hiding. The reason I chose that title, Dr. Barber asked me to speak on the fourth agreement in the wonderful book you're reading, which is the fifth agreement. But she asked me to speak on the fourth agreement, which is always do your best. But there's certain awarenesses you're to have before you really can do your best. And I'm going to get into that. First, I want to quote from Don Miguel Ruiz from his first book on the four agreements. He says, under any circumstances, now listen carefully, under any circumstances, always do your best. No more, no less. But keep in mind, your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality. And other times, it won't be as good. That's pages 75 and 76 of chapter 5 of his first book. So where do we start? How do we start? We begin with a realization. This is the first key to me. The first key to it is our true selves. To me, that's number one. And what is our true self? I call it the ineffable essence of ourselves. Ineffable. You know, I just did a series. I just finished it on Tuesday night. I did 5 lessons on the mystery of God. And I asked the students, I said, what do you think God is? And of course, everyone gave what they felt. And the one that was most common is God is love. I can understand that. And then someone said, well, God is everything. Well, that includes everything. Okay. But then I asked, well, what is love? And then I said, how do you pinpoint what is God? You can't. You can't. That's why I used, and I said, I'll tell you what God is. God is ineffable. Don't look up the word. I'll tell you what the word means. The word ineffable means too great. T-O-O. Too great to be expressed or described in words. Isn't that what happened to us this morning? How can you go now, when we leave here, and how are you going to tell other people what you felt this morning? Tell me, what kind of words are going to use? Fabulous, good, out of my mind, out of my body, out of it. It still doesn't describe it because it was too deep, too rich, too wonderful, right? You lose words. This is why gathering together is so important, because it releases that energy within us, that spiritual essence of the ineffable. The ineffable means you cannot describe it. It's indescribable. So when you're ready to do your best, which is all the time, really, I tell you, you always have to start on that premise. The very essence of yourself, the true self. And When I read the second book, I love the way both the Father and the Son, this is Don Jose Ruiz, the son and his father, they opened the book this way, and I'm going to read it to you, keeping in mind what we read from the first book. From the moment you are born, you deliver a message to the world. Isn't that the truth? I mean, just think of that baby just coming in now. Coming in from the hospital. Because in the ancient days, they were right there in the home. I mean, there's that little bundle. How do you feel? How can you describe what you feel? It's all of a sudden, heaven just hatched something. Right? It hatched you. It hatched me. I like that. From the moment you are born, you deliver a message to the world. Well, the baby can't talk. What kind of a message is that? What is the message? The message is you. That child. It is a presence of an angel. Remember, the word angel means messenger. I didn't see any wings on that baby. But that little bundle of flesh has that hot toast from heaven. You can sense it. You can feel it. Because it hasn't been filled with our stories. It hasn't learned to be prejudiced. It hasn't learned to hate. And you know, we really learn it. You think you're born with it? You're not. We learn it. But you sense that presence of love in that child. It says, a messenger. The child is a messenger from the infinite in the human body, in a human body. You sense the infinite in the human body. I call the infinite ineffable, indescribable. A total power creates a program just for you. And everything you need to be what you are is in that program. If you don't have the book, get it. This is from the Fifth Agreement. So the question is, always do your best. And I always say, I'm always doing my best. I got to come down there. Thank you. Always do your best. Well, if you understand what you are, you will do your best. But let me tell you something. Sometimes we think, because we judge everything, we measure everything, we judge everything. Doing your best. You know, sometimes you feel, I didn't do my best. Yes, you did. But I was ornery. Of course, you all don't get ornery, do you? I don't care how much you come here, how much you hear. Come on now. Thank you. One honest soul right there. You get ornery. You get, yeah. Right? But let me tell you, you can only do your best from that place. From that place. And this is what the book is telling us. In other words, don't judge yourself. Sometimes you can't explain why you're ornery. I know a lot of people like to wake up, right? Come on, just, I'm sorry we don't wake up as Superman or Superwoman. We just wake up. Right? And thank God we wake up. I'm grateful that I'm able to open my eyes in the morning. That I can at least greet the day, regardless of how I may feel. Maybe I don't have enough energy because of what happened yesterday or something like that. But I know I will do my best according to where I am at that moment. And you do. You know, the thing is, we're caught. People confuse the word best with perfect. You got it? We confuse the word best with perfect. And that's a big, big, fat, enormous mistake. Because we're always looking for the perfect. And you know, after I get through, and you know, I'm a Virgo. God help me. I'm always for that perfection. Ugh. There's nothing worse than that. Let me tell you, well, you're driven by perfection. I got to be perfect. You know, and everyone talks about it. Be perfect. Well, I like it when the young man approached Jesus and he says, "Oh, good teacher." I love that. Malpana tahwa is how we say that in Aramaic. Oh, good teacher. And Jesus says, Now, this is Jesus speaking now. Not you and me. Jesus is speaking. He says, there is no one good. I mean, he was referring to himself because he just was called that. No one good but what? But God. No one good but God. Oh, does that relieve a terrible burden on me? It means, and I learned this a long time ago, you know, being a minister, having to speak, having to be with people, and I go back, sometimes I'm always judging myself. That's another curse of a Virgo. Always judging, always judging. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about this one right here. Not you, because you don't judge. Always this one right here. And I always am plagued with, I could have done better. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? I could have done better. I could have. Let me tell you, you'll sing that song forever. Drop it. Drop it. Drop it. You can't continue to sing that song. I could have done better. Of course you could have. Of course you could have. But there's something in us that you have to realize, that we are growing, we are maturing, we are moving, we are not static, we are constantly in motion, and that's what gives us life. And sometimes the motion is up and high, and sometimes the motion is down and low. Oh, no, we don't go there. We don't go there. What a lie. Of course you go there. Of course you go there, but you don't stay there because you're in constant motion and in movement. So you can only do your best wherever you are at that moment, at that time, wherever it is, in your home, in your job, in your house, with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, whatever it is. It's right there. You can only do that. And sometimes, now forget just you. Sometimes you try to do your best, but you have people throwing things in your way. Oh, I remember. I hope you don't mind this, Dr. Barbara. But I remember when you were building this building. Yeah, you remember. Yeah, I remember. And I was in California, and you used to call me, and we talked. Remember? All the time. One obstacle after another, after another, after another. I remember this because we would talk on the phone. Obstacle to, first of all, being a minister and being a woman. Oh my God. It's not easy. And I remember the obstacles being thrown, but she did her best, and look what we have. Huh? Look at what we have. And she could only go through, but let me tell you, it was painful. It was painful. But she came through. Came through. And remember those talks we had on the phone. What is that? And you did your best for what you could do at that moment, at the time, and then look at it. It's here. So no matter what you're in, no matter how tight the squeeze is, no matter what obstacles are in your way, you're going to do your best because you are in constant movement. And you're not going to stay. If you say, oh, I'm in hell right now, don't worry, you'll be out of it soon. You're not going to stay there. You're just not going to stay there unless you like to wallow in the pig pen. You know, there are some people, but, you know, they get something out of that. There's a pleasure in wallowing in the pig pen. You know, you ever see the pig? Wallow, wallow, wallow. And some people want to, wallow in the pig pen. You know, oh, pity me. Pity me. Right? Come on now, you kiss me. That's what they want. They want your time. They want your life. They want your energy. They want all that as they will. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this natural high and lows, which is natural to us because, as I said, we're living beings. But when people throw obstacles in your way, look at the Apostle Paul. He wrote in his letter to the Corinthians. He said, messengers of Satan are buffeting me. That's how he put it. It means accusers. The word Satan there means an accuser. And they were accusing him because he never sat under Jesus. And he didn't. In fact, I wish he had sat under Jesus. But he was constantly buffeted, he said. And then all of a sudden, in all that, in other words, he was trying to do his best, preaching what he felt was the gospel. This was his calling, his mission, what he had to do. And all these obstacles were being thrown in his way. People were opposing him, accusing him. You never sat under Jesus. You don't know what you're talking about. And he was constantly fighting. 3 times he said, I asked the Lord to help me with this. 3 times he said. And he heard back. I like it. The way it says in Aramaic, I love it. It says, Wamarli. And he said to me. And he said to me. He said, Sakalach. Sakalach means enough. Huh? Enough. It's very strong in Aramaic. Enough to you. I'm literally translating it the way it's written. Enough to you. Taibutha. Enough to you is my grace. Let me tell you about this word grace. We've ruined it. Because everyone translated as unmerited favor, and that's malarkey. That's baloney and applesauce. It is not the meaning of that word, taibutha. It means when he says, enough for you is my goodness. Oh, that's what it means. Not whether you merited or unmerited. That has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Grace is simply grace. It's loving kindness and goodness. And it's simply grace, 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 whether you merit or you don't merit it. Right? You got it now? So don't believe those preachers on the radio talk about unmerited favor. What a bunch of malarkey that is. It is the word grace in the Semitic languages of Aramaic and in Hebrew. It means goodness, which is always steady, That's one thing about God. God is always steady. We're up and down, but God is always steady. God is always, always giving that goodness, that loving kindness, no matter what you feel, no matter what you... Listen, when I came to church this morning, I was exhausted. Physically. Then I began to hear those songs. And all of a sudden, I can feel my cells. Where is Tim? I don't see him. He was right over there. No wonder he's always moving, he's twitching his fingers. You know, when he gets excited and he feels of course, it's the darn cells in your body. And that's what the cells are doing. They're jumping up and down like this, like this, like this, like this. And all of a sudden, it's going. I said, oh, I'm too tired to feel this. I got to get up there and talk. I'm going to tell you what I was feeling this morning. And not because I've just felt down. Physically, I'm speaking physically. And even though I was doing one affirmation after another, but when I began to hear that singing and hear that music and hear that choir and hear Tim and do the meditation and all that, like I said, it begins to move in you, because the people were sharing from their hearts. The choir was sharing from its heart. From what? From that ineffable place. From that indescribable place. From that indescribable essence. Now you will always do the best. Always. And drop that, I could have done better. Drop it. Don't stay with it. And another thing, which is so hard, is judgment. Oh, Lord. You know what judgment comes from? Constantly measuring. Constantly measuring yourself. When you realize your true place and your true being, you don't judge yourself. Those are big words, I know that. Don't judge yourself. I have to swallow it all the time because it's natural to do that. We're constantly measuring ourselves. Well, you know, I could have done this, or I should have done that, or I blah, 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 blah. No wonder we're exhausted. You understand what I'm saying? We mentally exhaust ourselves with our silly talk. And the trouble is, our little cells, they say, will you quit doing that? I can just see the little cells running around in our body, moving everywhere. Don't doing it, you're making me tired. And that's why we get tired. But, just like I like calling this man over here, this guy right here, I don't call him by his name. And my secretary gave him that name, but I like it too, so I call him by that too. I call him Mr. Sunshine. See what I mean? He fits it. Mr. Sunshine. All the time. But I know sometimes clouds get in the way.
Oh, no, not me.
You know, of course not. And there's a song, oh no, not me. Sunshine. We would like that. You know, we want to be brilliant all the time, don't we? Oh, we just love it. Too bad. Too bad. Understand who you are, what you are, and you're always doing your best. And if you're falling down, get up. Get up. You don't have to stay down. Remember what I always said? You can get knocked down, but you'll never get knocked out. You're never out. You've got something so incredible in you. The ineffable you. The indescribable you.